want to finish up with, if they win, if they succeed, the next phases. Because I keep telling you the next few phases, and now we've reached those next phases. So now we need to discuss what's coming after that. Then we'll continue at 1-800-259-9231 to take your phone calls. But this article right here, zoom in on this for me, guys. I am asking the listeners to please get this article and get this out to everybody, because this is officially a private financial dictatorship that is taking over our country and taking over the world. We're going to talk about this with Gary Franchi next hour in studio, and also take your calls on that as well. But I'm asking you, I mean, for some reason, Ron Paul's admitting it's setting up a dictatorship of the bankers. Other people are pointing out it gives them absolute dictatorial power, but nobody is, I think, putting all the pieces together of what this means. In the interest of time, I'm not going to read the rest of the article. There's pages and pages left here with the things they're doing. I mean, these bastards have completely bankrupted our society by design. Now, the most important facet to all of this is, if we're unable to defeat the bankers doing their overhaul, which gives them total government power through the national security grid. And notice they just put up on the screen Gerald Celente on Russia Today. By the way, we're interviewing him again for the new Obama film. And there he is saying, Wall Street is Washington and Washington is Wall Street. And there's all these top Democrats coming out and going, yes, banks completely run us. And they're offshore banks. In fact, if I have time later, that's only a 6-minute clip. I might play some of that here live at prisonplanet.tv. This is just so incredible that I am actually dumbfounded. It's so over the top. And then we're the weirdos for not wanting offshore banks openly running all corporations, all companies. If you make contributions to the political parties, they let you keep your dealership open because the government runs it for political favors, and they take over $10 billion off the stimulus money and give it to neighborhood groups. And the New York Times reports, the money's being spent to train Boy Scouts to do fugitive apprehension and gun confiscation and take on disgruntled vets for Homeland Security. And it shows them with machine guns practicing. And then yesterday, the Green Corps is made up of criminals who've set their life straight now to go out and do audits of people's homes. I mean, and 13 million Obama supporters are going door to door asking people to support the health care takeover. This is a complete and total raping of society. And where does it go from here? Well, the establishment is going to follow the same methodology. And they're going to continue to do this over and over and over again. They are going to create the crisis, say their solution is to give them more power and control. Crisis gets worse. Say, do what we say or things are going to get worse. When they wanted the banker bailout in October, people wouldn't do it. They said there'll be a huge depression, basically the end of the world, the end of America, if this doesn't happen. And then things got worse when we did what they wanted. And the corruption intensified. And they said it's secret where the trillions went. We're not going to tell you. But then the banks themselves brag and say, we're getting billion-dollar bonuses. We're buying up the infrastructure. We're using federal regulators to force smaller banks and insurance companies to sell to us, and we're buying them up with the bailout money. It's a vertical integration, a consolidation. And now they're saying, we got to have regulation, a change of things, a remake, a upgrade, as if it's a good thing, an overhaul of the banking system. And what is that? Total dictatorial power through the national security state for Wall Street that set up the CIA and the National Security Act of 47 and this whole system. They're now just fully, with the environmental regulations and with the corporate regulations and government regulations, taking over the whole society and building up the massive paramilitary forces, and Northcom openly announcing and preparing to engage the American people to carry this out. Now, That said, they will probably pass this. Things will further be bankrupted. Society will break down. There will unemployment will be at 25-30%. It's already really at 20%, according to all the economists we have on. The government's cook numbers are over 10%. And then, so the only pillar left will be the corrupt government, funded by fiat currency and credit, owned by the private bankers, paid for with our tax money. And again, we pay interest to give them the money. We give them the money, then pay interest. We're paying to be slaves. It's a new form of slavery, where you don't just not get paid as a slave, but you pay to be a slave. You understand? A new level. And the bankers are worshipped by the media of their own, and everybody says that they basically created the planet and that we got to pay taxes to breathe, as the New York Times said. In fact, Google a tax on breathing. I want to show people that New York Times headline where they say it's good, though. They say, yes, this is the carbon tax will be a tax on respiration. A tax to breathe or a tax on breathing was the headline. And they're going to use that to regulate, shut down the farms and ranches, fund huge bureaucrat armies with the unlimited cash they print to harass your businesses, your factories, huge carbon taxes on you, not on China, India, Mexico, and hundreds of other countries. So that'll further drive industry and jobs out. Then all that's left is big mega agribusiness, and the big corporations will still own the factories and the companies, but they'll get government contracts to finance it. And so you will go to work. You will swipe a national ID card, real ID, to have your job. The illegals will be exempt and will all be legalized under the guest worker program. You'll be arrested for letting somebody mow your lawn for barter. Cash is going to be phased out. Even if you pay with cash, it's going to have chips in it. They've now announced this. And then you'll thumbprint to buy and sell. There's going to be a graduated sales tax globally and a carbon tax or group of carbon taxes on that. They're already passing those. So every facet of your life is going to be micromanaged and controlled, and all the major university grants and the tuition that's paid and the scholarships, already the majority scholarships are law enforcement, data mining, homeland security, infrastructure protection, law enforcement. ITT Technical doesn't teach computer programming. They're now ITT law enforcement or security guards, and they're going to have law enforcement power. And so the entire economy is being shifted from a free market economy into a command and control with these private banks that own the private prisons, own the private security firms, own the private security firms that administer the municipal police departments and county sheriff's departments, now being federalized and taken over by the states, who then hand it over to federal control. And so you won't have a chance to be outside the system, because the only jobs available will be government or government related. And the very architecture of the job that are out there will be spying on your neighbors, tattletaling, controlling people, going after resistors, micromanaging and squeezing all the farms and ranches through animal ID and premises ID. Yeah, punch up that article. Taxing us for breathing, real clear politics. Click on it and go to the original article, please. We have it archived there, but let's see if it's the blue link where it says real clear politics. And you can see it there. And then that article, if I remember, reports on the New York Times. Yes, it says, last week the New York Times published an extraordinary editorial explaining that right now everyone is using an atmosphere like a municipal dump, depositing carbon dioxide free. The Times editor suggested that the government start charging for the privilege by imposing a carbon tax or a tax on breathing. Yeah, click on the New York Times link. There you have it. So there is the control grid that we're discussing and breaking down here. And so you won't have a choice. You'll have to join the police academy or the federal academy. You will have to go into their grids. You will have to follow what they're saying, because the whole society's designed. There'll only be credit. There'll only be loans given to the bankers out of fiat nothingness, backed up with your tax money, to select industries they want. And they say they're doing this because of robotics and automation. Everybody's going to have cars and Xboxes and entertainment, but you're going to be in compact cities and highly controlled. They want to phase all that out and give you jobs in surveilling and controlling people so they can get their pure dictatorship, their scientific dictatorship in control to then carry out the forced eugenics and forced exterminations. And because the ratio will be 10% of the public at least being cops alone, heavily armed, licensed to kill at the drop of a hat for talking back. And then another 40, 50% they're saying will be bureaucracy and surveillance.